Yeah. Yeah, I know, Barry. I don't even know anymore. I really don't. I thought Kaido was supposed to be this big, strong dragon that could just devastate the entirety of Onigashima with one attack if he wanted to. And we thought Raizo was, just one of the weaker members of the Scabbards, not capable of really doing any real damage. The whole world's gone topsy-turvy, people. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Alright, so this will be discussing the Scabbards fighting against Kaido. I don't even know. Should he even have the will of D anymore? Should we even make that joke anymore? Is Kaido an actual duck? Are we gonna find out at the end of this fight, like, Inuarashi's gonna take his peg katana leg and then slice Kaido like freaking, like, gutting a snake right down the center, and then it's just gonna explode outward, and they're all gonna be like, yes, we've done it! We've slayed Kaido! We've avenged our master, Kozuki Oden! And then out of, like, it's just, like, it's revealed it's just a costume the entire time. It was just a really elaborate dragon costume, and Kawamatsu picks it up and he's like, wait a second, there's a zipper on this thing, and they just tear through like the layers and layers of the dragon costume, and we find out at the very center it's just a duck with like controls, like it was like a fake dragon puppet, like a parade float kind of thing, and the duck is just like and there's like little firework buttons for like the Boro breath and the lightning breath. It was just fireworks the whole time. And the duck's just, well, looks like my time ruling Wano's done. Good job to you, Scabbards. And he just flies away, and then Denjiro's like, wait, no, Izo walks up. He's like, I got this. Don't worry. And then maybe, I don't know. Okay. So, there's a lot of people that are disappointed by this chapter. I mean, it's a lot of epic because we get to see the Scabbards, like, avenging their master, which is really, really cool. But on the opposite end of that, we have Kaido in this very imposing dragon form. Kaido of the beast. If it's one-on-one, Kaido wins, which, to be fair, it's like 9-on-1 right now. So, that expression doesn't really carry a lot of water right now. But I think we thought, like, Kaido was going to be able to do more damage than what he did, right? I think, like, people thought, like, all right, Kaido is, he might not be able to take them all down in one attack, but, he would definitely be able to take a few of them down, right? Like, we thought, I think a lot of people out there, and it's fine if you didn't, it's fine if you believed in Raizo this entire time, but, I can imagine a few people maybe thinking, like, oh yeah, Raizo might go down, maybe Kawamatsu might get hit, like Denjiro and Kinemon, they're more like the prominent members, so maybe they might be around for a little while longer. Ashura Doji, really haven't seen a lot of stuff what Ashura Doji could do. Obviously, Neko and Inu are in their Sulongs and stuff. We just got reintroduced to Izo, seeing what Okiku can do, right? But I bet a lot of people thought, like, it was going to be kind of an even keel kind of fight, where it's going to be, like, Kaido launches an attack, some of the Scabbards fall down, and then the Scabbards get back up, they attack Kaido, and they damage him. It's like a back and forth thing. But so far in the fight, and, the fight is not over yet, the fight might be not even halfway over yet. We don't know where the fight's at right now, but at least from the opening volleys of this battle, the Scabbards are kind of kicking Kaido's ass. I mean, he opens up the fight, like, we had the little interchange with Jack, show up, and they had that little, like, pre-game battle or whatever. Like, Kaido's up there with the Scabbards, and he's like, I will fight you all, and then Jack shows up. He's like, wait a second, Lord Kaido, and then the Minks are there, and he's like, wait a second, Scabbards, we got this, and there's just, like, this little Pokemon battle in the meantime, while Kaido and everybody's just waiting. And after that ends, they're like, all right, well, that's over with. And plus, at that point, you could figure, like, okay, Kaido is really mad that Jack had been defeated. Kaido was really infuriated. He's like, Jack, I raised you up since you were just a tyke of a mammoth, but now I will avenge you. And you think at that moment, like, oh, wow, okay, Kaido's pissed. He's sobered up. This is going to be it. This is going to be the battle, right? Ever since that started, though, everything he's really done hasn't really been that effective against the Scabbards. He opened up with the Boro breath, and he's just like, I'm gonna use a Boro breath, I'm just gonna, like, nuke the entire roof of Onigashima, and then they're all gonna die, and that's it. And granted, Kaido has probably done this before. Probably a lot. Maybe not just in Wano, but in other areas. If there's a town that was giving the Beast Pirates a particular amount of trouble, they wouldn't listen to them or whatever, Kaido would just be, like, showing up as a dragon, and if that didn't put the fear of God into them, if they were still rebelling for some reason, he would just be like, alright, screw it, I guess, Queen, do we really need this island? Not really. Alright, Boro breath, boom! Now, that works when it's just, like, leveling a large area, like massive damage, and, like, just civilians are there. And obviously the Scabbards are trained disciples of Odin, so they have a little bit more skill here. And then it comes down to freaking Kinemon, like, I can cut fire. By the way, did we ever find out why he could cut fire, or how he could cut fire? He just can cut fire, right? Like, at least with Brook's ability, you know, the ability to, like, slice people with the chilling winds of the underworld, that's a direct power of his Yomi Yomi no Mi. Zoro can cut fire. Yeah, he's been able to use that blaze technique where he can, like, just swing his sword so fast it just, you know, creates fire. So yeah, I guess it's One Piece. I guess it makes sense. But, you know, I was also really surprised by the fact, like, okay, Kinemon can cut fire, that's cool, but the Boro breath, right? Like, that's like a giant fireball laser beam, as I described. I mean, that's a lot of, like, TNT power packed into that damn thing. And the fact that Kinemon was able to just slice it like that with no big deal, I thought there was going to be more to it. I thought there was going to be like Kinemon slices the Boro breath, but afterwards he gets down and he's like, oh, that was really hard to do. Like, my sword is, like, partially melted, and that really took a lot out of me, and that took a lot of Ryuo and a lot of focus. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that again. We really don't see anything like that. I mean, maybe there might have been, but we didn't really see anything like that. It just, like, he just sliced the laser, just... Alright, I can do that now, right? And so, in this chapter, we find out Kaido has another ability. He can basically yell and create lightning. At first, I thought this was literally just, like, him yelling so loud, like, it created shockwaves of, like, thunder from his mouth. But no, it's like, you go back and read the chapter, it is quite literally, like, lightning bolts coming out of his mouth. He is able to control the weather to an extent. He can create clouds and everything, like, to walk on, you know, as it was stated in the SBS with the dragon ability. So, I guess it makes sense that he could also spawn lightning as well, or, you know, yell lightning. So Kaido lets out a mighty roar, lightning bolts come out of his mouth, it all strikes the ground, and I think I said in the review, like, the Scabbards all rolled, like, a dex save, and they managed to dodge out. You all succeeded, so they all dodge out of the way. None of them get really seriously injured from that. Kawamatsu did get hit in the chapter. He, like, goes to slice Kaido, and he succeeds, but then Kaido takes his talon and just, like, smacks Kawamatsu into a wall, but I don't think it did, like severe damage or anything like that. I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I was expecting this battle to be more even, like, you know, like freaking Kinemon jumps up and slices down Boro breath, but then Kaido uses its tail and, like, breaks Inurashi's other leg, and then freaking Nekomamushi runs up and slashes Kaido's eye, and then Kaido uses his lightning breath and, like, strikes freaking Izo right in the chest, like, oh, you know, like, I guess I was expecting that to be like, you know, they are capable of harming Kaido, but Kaido is also very, very, very capable of harming them as well. And we do get to see battle damage. If you go back and look at the chapter, you do get to see the Scabbards, like, bleeding. Like, they're not doing this like it's like a walk in the park. You did get to see, like, blood running down their face, like they've been hit by debris or maybe other attacks by Kaido. It's a rough battle. It's just the way that Oda is conveying it really does seem like Kaido is kind of just flabbergasted at how they can even hurt him, and every time he tries, like, a big high-octane attack to just, like, wipe out the area, like the Boro breath, or every time he tries to do the lightning attack, it's just not working. So I think, I'm hoping, like, next chapter at least, maybe Kaido will figure out, like, alright, this isn't going to work. I'm not going to be able to finish off these Scabbards with just a big Boro breath. Like, that's what he's trying to do. He's tried it, like, 3 times already. He tried it once, Kinemon sliced it, and, he did the lightning thing, and then in the end of this chapter, he tried to do another Boro breath, and then they did the Togen Totsuka on him. So, I think Kaido should realize at this point, that, like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do some big, huge attack and just wipe them all out, alright? So there's no point in me really being in dragon form anymore, is there? I mean, yeah, he can fly. Oh my god, why doesn't he just do that? Flying is not the same thing as, like, Shenron from Dragon Ball Z, where he can just, like, fly. The way that Oda explained this, even if it isn't conveyed the best in the manga, is he flies basically the same way as Momo flies, where Momo turns into a little dragon, and Momo can create clouds and just walk on the clouds. The way that Oda described it is, like, Kaido can basically do that. So he creates all these big storm clouds in the sky and kind of walks around on that, but why doesn't he just do that? Because every time Kaido opens his mouth to try to do something, you know, like the freaking Scabbards jump him and slice him up or whatever, or Kinemon slices the Boro Breath. But even so, like, I don't think Kinemon could slice that Boro Breath all day, all night. So fly up into the atmosphere, Kaido. Fly way high up so they can't reach you. You know, none of the freaking Scabbards know Geppo or anything like that. I mean, yeah, Kiku and Izo have, like, projectile attacks. You know, Izo's got his pistols, and Kiku's got, like, the Kama Itachi, like, air slice techniques and stuff. But if Kaido just goes way up into the sky where they can't reach him, and then he just, like, Boro Breath! Boro Breath! Boro Breath! Like, and just attack. And you might say, he was like, well, that might devastate Onigashima. That might destroy his mansion. Well, he was about ready to use it, like, twice in this battle. Didn't really seem to bother him then, right? He was gonna do it anyway, so, yeah. I don't know. I don't know why he doesn't do that. But really, I think, honestly, he should just, okay, the dragon thing is not working. I'm gonna go back into my regular, large, hulking, you know, Oni ancient giant form, or into my hybrid form, like half Oni, half dragon, whatever he's got in his repertoire. I'm gonna do that, because honestly, the dragon thing, it's just, I said it in the review, it's just making him a bigger target, honestly. You know, I don't think Kaido is weak or anything. I think for one part of it, he's a bigger target. For another part of it, he is constantly shocked and surprised that the Scabbards can even hurt him, because think about it, every other battle Kaido has fought, everything that he's done since Kozuki Oden's fight, ever since he got that scar on his body from Oden, he has not been hurt a single time since then, at least from what we can infer, from the way that the narrator talked about Kaido and everything, and Kaido, like, jumps off a Sky Island, and all he gets from that is just a mild headache. You know, it's like, I'll pop some Tylenol, I guess, whatever. And, you know, like, we get that impression. So Kaido is definitely not used to feeling that kind of pain or getting damaged at all, even when it comes down to a paper cut. And at the end of the day, each of these attacks that the Scabbards have laid down on Kaido, I don't think they're in any real danger of killing him, with maybe the exception of that last scene with the Togen Totsuka, where they do, like, ×4 Togen Totsuka to, like, slice the scar. As I said, I think next chapter, that's going to put Kaido in a lot of pain, a tremendous amount of pain, because it was one of those scars that was like, it's like Harry Potter's scar, like, you know, whenever Voldemort is near, it starts to hurt Harry. Same thing with Kaido, like, whenever the Scabbards show up, it, like, started to throb, and he's just like, why is my scar hurting at a time like this? Odin, you've returned, you know. So, slicing that thing with, 4 samurai, 8 different katanas at the exact same point, you know, Odin's disciples, I think that's definitely going to cause a lot of pain on Kaido's end there. So that might, you know, lead into maybe eventually later on in the battle, maybe that scar will end up opening up even more more blood will pour out, and that might be the thing that eventually ends him, or eventually ends up like way at the end of the battle, like it's like after Luffy and Zoro and Kid and Law and everybody else that wants to get a shot in on Kaido gets a shot in on him. You know, Kaido's like, he's all banged up, he's bloodied, he's bruised, he gets back up with like one final attack, he tries to pick up his Kanabo, and he's just like, he's like, oh no, we gave him everything we had and he's still moving, and then Kaido's like, ugh. And then, like, he moves, and, like, the scar just, like, keeps geysering like a fire hose, like, more and more blood just coming out of the scar, and he's like, ugh. Okay, and then he just falls backwards, and then that's the reason he loses it. This might lead into that, so definitely target the scar. Like, Luffy, Zoro, when you guys show up, target the damn scar, alright? It is very clearly his weak point. I don't think any of the other cuts, like when Kawamatsu did his thing on his jaw, or when Kiku and Izo did their combo attack on his face, I don't think that really caused any, like mortal wound or anything, but it caused, like, a psychological one. Like, every single time the Scabbards injure Kaido, he starts freaking out more, because he's just like, how is this possible? These are just Odin's disciples, they don't have his Ryuo, they don't have his swords, how are they hurting me? And I think, I said it as a joke, but I think this is a serious thing, where Kaido honestly thought, like, the only person capable of hurting me was Odin, because that's the only person in, like, the last 25 years that literally hurt him. I mean, yeah, maybe back in Kaido's younger years, maybe like Rocks or somebody would have been able to injure him as well. But like I think he has like that trauma from Odin, really, from the way that he got like just wrecked by him, honestly, and the way that fight ended. With the only way that Kaido won was because of Higurashi turning into Momo with her ability. Right, that was the only way that Kaido won, and he kind of felt weird about that. So he kind of really got wrecked by Odin in that one attack there. It really hurt him, right? So, yeah, let's go into the Scabbards, like, special moves to see what they got here. I also wanted to thank, Artur over at the Library of Ohara. I'll leave some links below, because some of these attacks, you know, it depends on the translation and the way that they were, like, shown. Like, I know Kawamatsu's attack in the official Viz was, like, Sea of the River, and I was like, what does that really mean? So, thanks to Artur. You go check him out on Library of Ohara. He did the chapter 992 analysis. He does analysis for all the chapters, and so, put links down there. So, first up, we have Neko Momoshi with his ability Akabyobu, which is the red cat dance, okay? And this one is pretty straightforward. It's like Neko in Sulong using Electro and his mighty cat claws, or cat claw, because he's missing an arm. He has his Catling gun on the other one. But he like jumps up into the air, he leaps into the air, and then he spins like a drill, and then he just like slashes Kaido, and that was the attack, okay? Now, of course, when they go into their Sulong, it's like white fur all over their body that's like discharging with Electro, kind of like Super Saiyan 2 or something, right? So the red in this part, like the red cat dance or the crimson cat dance, I'm gonna go with that meaning blood, you know? I'm sure anybody out there that owns cats, you know, you've probably dealt with the red cat dance at some point. Like someone like cat comes up, scratches you. Let me tell you a story. I was down at my grandparents', this was when I was a little kid, and they had a cat. I don't remember the cat's name, but he was kind of an asshole, and I was a little kid, and the cat was sitting on the windowsill, and I was upstairs by myself, and I was just talking to the cat. I'm like, hi cat, how are you doing, cat? I'm doing okay, cat. And then the cat just listens to me like for a good 2 minutes, like I'm talking to this cat, you know, and I don't know what I was even saying to him. Like I was giving him my stupid life story at like age 5, and the cat is just finally like, and it just scratches, like, get away from me. I want to go somewhere. I'm trying to get off the move. It just scratches me, and I'm like, ah, and I freak out. And I run downstairs, and my dad and my grandparents are downstairs, and I'm like, the cat just scratched me. And no one believed me. No one believed me. No one did. They were just like, oh, that cat? I'm like, yeah, that cat. I'm like, no, that cat doesn't scratch people. Matt, you're weird. I'm like, no, what? No, it scratched me. It's like, oh, okay, the cat scratched you, whatever. Like, no one bought it. Referring to dance in this context just as like the Japanese term for like in this context with this kanji is just leaping. So the leaping red cat dance. So there you go. Pretty basic attack there. So moving on, we'll just do Inu Arashi's next because like Neku and Ino, you know, they fight as a pair. So Inu's special attack is Inu Odoshi, which is wind barking dog. So Oda incorporates a lot of like Japanese puns or maybe Japanese like you know, like not I'm thinking of what's the word I'm thinking of? Not idioms, but like a Japanese like terminology into his attacks, obviously, right? So it's like a pun or a term that might be only referred to in Japan. So in Japan, there is a term for this, like the wind barking dog. It's the term for when a dog just kind of like incessantly barks at a door. Like the wind is like flapping the door and the dog is just barking at it because it doesn't know what's going on. Personally, yeah, our dog doesn't do that. Our dog is actually pretty chill. You know, when Duchess is downstairs and like someone's knocking on the door, like the wind's banging against the door, Duchess will probably just be sitting in her beanbag chair just being like, yeah, you should probably get that. I mean, I'll be here if you want me to for like emotional support, but this is my beanbag chair. I'm not getting up. You go get the door. So, yeah, it's not really much that I have to you know, compare it to, but that's where the attack comes from. And the attack is really simple. The attack is just Inu Arashi just jumping up and then just stabbing Kaido in the side with his sword peg leg. That's all it is. So I don't know if Inu Arashi had this attack before and he just restructured it because he's missing a leg now with his new two-sword dog style, or if this is an attack he just came up with because I only have one leg. Inu Odoshi! That's the name of my new attack with my peg leg. So, yeah, I don't know, but that's a very simple attack. Then we have Kawamatsu's. Now, Kawamatsu's, I was really confused by because I think the official Viz translation of this attack name was like Sea of the River, like sea as in S-E-A, Sea of the River. And I'm like, okay, and then the other translation I read was Milky Way, and I like the Milky Way version better. So what it comes down to is Ama no Goa. Ama no Goa is the term in Japan for the Heavens River, which is the Milky Way galaxy, the term they used to use for it because it literally looks like the Milky Way, like a river in the sky, so it's like a heavenly river, okay? And then, of course, it takes the kanji for sea, field, and river, which is hence the Viz translation, and it all comes down to that. But, like, Milky Way, I think, is a better translation of that attack name because it is referring to what, you know, in Japan you would call, like, the heavenly river or the Milky Way galaxy. So I think Milky Way is just call it the Milky Way. I think that's a better term there. But yeah, Amanogawa, that was really cool. Kawamatsu jumped up with his sword and he sliced Kaido like right here, like right when Kaido was like opening his mouth about to like bite down on Kawamatsu and just eat him. Kawamatsu does this attack and it like slices Kaido right here, like freaking like get a Glasgow smile, like freaking Zebra from Toriko or like the Joker, right? And then it cuts him and it like slices his lips, his dragon lips. All right, and so it also looked like it rippled out, like you like throw a pebble in the river and it like ripples that way. That's the way it kind of looked. So if that's the situation, I feel like if that was any other character, like if that was just a regular like enemy that like a pleasure or a waiter that Kawamatsu was going up against, this attack would have just like sliced them all in half, you know, just like a shockwave that just ripples through the battlefield and just shing and then just slices everybody. But yeah, obviously Kaido's a little bit more tough than that. Then we have Okiku's special move, which I originally misread as Zangetsu Gama. It's Zansetsu Gama. The Bleach got into my mind a little bit there. It's just like, Zangetsu? That's so cool, Okiku! No, it's Zansetsu Gama, Lingering Snow Scythe. So I think a lot of people could get the comparison here. I said it's like a wind blade, but in Japan they have the Kama Itachi. The Kama Itachi is a yokai that's like resembles a like a weasel. If you've seen Naruto, it appears there as like a, I think it's one of Tamari's summonings. It creates a weasel, and it's been in other kinds of like you know, anime and manga over the years as well. And the Kama Itachi is like the air scythes. Okay, so basically that is what Kiku did, except Okiku's epithet is Okiku of the Lingering Snow. So I'm assuming maybe it's like she takes out her katana and she like swipes the snow, and maybe the snow like forms like those wind blade scythes that like cut Kaido. So it's like a rippling wind blade of snow, you know, colored white, and they like reflect or whatever. And it's a very artistic, very poetic kind of attack that she uses against Kaido. Something like that, I imagine this is what it would look like. But at the end of the day, it's a very basic anime ability. It's Getsuga Tensho! It's an air blade slice attack, and she sent out a bunch of these like chakrams that like sliced up Kaido, you know, these like circles. So that was her ability. And then we have Okiku's brother, Izo, his special ability. I was the most interested in his, and to see what it really was, because, you know, we don't get that many characters in One Piece that use guns and have like special techniques with the guns or whatever. Like, obviously Usopp doesn't use a gun, he has a slingshot. Van Arger uses a gun, but we don't know much about his techniques or whatever. Guns are very prevalent in One Piece. Like, all the Marines, of course, have like flintlocks and rifles and everything like that. Beiji had like a Tommy gun, of course, but we've never seen like a lot of special techniques with guns or whatever. So Izo just has these flintlocks, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, what's his techniques are going to be? So he's got the Dangiri Gan bullet slashing rounds, and in the chapter, there's really nothing different from these bullets from all the other bullets. Maybe that might be the reason why Oda doesn't show this off too much, because at the end of the day, they're like, okay, like maybe it's hard to depict. Like with a sword, you could do all this really cool stuff. You could have like wind blade scythes, or you could have like Zoro, like, you know, slicing so damn fast it lights on fire, like a dragon behind him or something like that, or a giant slash that like cracks the island in two. But with like just flintlocks and bullets, it might be harder to like depict like different techniques. And so these don't really look any different from, you know, Izo's normal attacks, and I'm not really sure what he did different. I'm assuming, like, he just used different bullets. Like, he has different kinds of bullets on him, you know, in his kimono that he reaches in and throws them in, and these were the slashing rounds where he fired them at Kaido, and as the name implied, instead of, like, piercing, you know, getting into the flesh and going through, they, like, break apart, maybe slash you up, maybe like hollow points, so that they fragment or something when they hit the opponent, so they, like, shrapnel kind of deal when they explode and they, like, slice you up. Maybe it was something like that. Maybe it was like a special round he had, right? Or maybe, because this is the world of manga, maybe he doesn't have special bullets. Maybe it's just like, you know, it's like freaking Mista's Sex Pistols or whatever. It's just like, you know, they do what I tell them to do. You know, like, I want them to slice instead of pierce, they're gonna slice. If I want them to, like, you know, like move around Kaido, like curvature bullets, and they like spin around Kaido and then they hit him in the back or something like that. That's Izo's special ability. And now, ending it out, because we didn't get to see the other Scabbard special moves yet. We still got to see Denjiro's, we still got to see Ashura's. Kinemon, we kind of see the Foxfire, but we still got Denjiro and Ashura. But we get Raizo's special move. Raizo's special ninja skill. And I think we all, like, if you were believing in Raizo the entire time, believe in me, Raizo! If you were believing in Raizo, good on you. But if you weren't, we really should have. Because if you sit back and think about it for 5 seconds, Raizo is a damn ninja. and Oda and Kishimoto were like rivals, but they were also like friends, and Raizo's already kind of shown like, you know, ninjutsu abilities. Like ninjutsu is a thing in One Piece. Like it's not just like ninjutsu in our world where like they, you know, practice stealth or everything like that. Like no, actual like Naruto jutsu is kind of a thing in One Piece. Not on the same level as in Naruto, obviously. We're not gonna break out like, you know, like Raizo's not gonna bust out the Sharingan or like shadow possession jutsu or whatever. But he does have the ability to make like clones of himself and do the body replacement technique and like the body flicker technique and like the ceiling technique we kind of saw in this chapter. So he uses the Maki Maki no Jutsu or the Scroll no Jutsu, where he takes out a giant ninja scroll and then makes it huge. Kind of once again something you would see out of Naruto, because Raizo doesn't have a giant scroll on his back, so he just pulled out this thing. Ho ho! Poof! Maki Maki no Jutsu! And then like opens it, grabs the Boro breath, seals it, and then he wraps it up, and then he's like, Hoken! And then it just explodes all around him, alright? That was literally a move you would see like Kakashi pulling out or Jiraiya pulling out in Naruto. Jiraiya did kind of pull it out in Naruto when he sealed Itachi's Amaterasu. So, yeah. Raizo can do shit like that. Now, there's also a thing, like, there's other ninjas in One Piece, like the Oniwabanshu. I guess they in Shinobu, I guess they could do that kind of stuff, too. Raizo might be the best at it. He might have, like, special skills or, like, a special way of ninjutsu he follows. One thing to keep in mind is he uses the Maki Maki no Jutsu the same way that, like, Shinobu does her, like, mature technique. So I'm thinking, like Raizo does not have a devil fruit. I think it is literally just ninjutsu, because we've seen other people use it, right? But I think it's, like, named after the same way because they come from the culture of Wano, and so it would make sense that, like, alright, these are the ninja skills, and, like, Kinemon and Shinobu think that their devil fruit powers are ninja skills. Like, they ate a strange fruit and they had ninja powers now, and so that's why they named it after, like, the repeating. But that doesn't make any sense, because when you eat the devil fruit, you apparently know the name of the power right away. Like, when Kinemon ate his clothing fruit, it's like, this is the clothing fruit, right? He just knew the name right away. He doesn't know everything about it. He doesn't know this is a devil fruit, and devil fruits come in 3 categories. Like, he doesn't know that. He just, like, this is the clothing power. When Shinobu ate her fruit, like, this is the mature power, right? So, I don't know why, like, maybe maybe Raizo named his techniques after that just in honor of them. You know, maybe? I don't know. What? Didn't Raizo have a thing for Shinobu? Didn't Raizo have, like, a really big thing for Shinobu, but then she turned him down, and then he left, and he was really dejected and everything, and maybe it's like, well, Shinobu has that power, so I'll name it after her abilities. You know, maybe something like that? I don't know. But at any rate, he uses the same naming scheme, like scroll jutsu, like something like that. So yeah, Raizo's a freaking ninja, and he can do shit like that. Once again, I don't think it was anything that was really going to, like, you know, seriously cripple him to the point where he's, like, gonna die, but it's probably gonna open his eyes, like, alright, this dragon thing isn't working out. Oh, and also, the name of the attack that Raizo uses is Hoken, and Hoken means, like, it's a pun. It's a pun because it means, like, the returning of the emperor. And in the context of, like, Japan, it means the emperor returning to power after not having it for a while. So, like, during the Bakumatsu period, after the Edo era, and after, like, the Meiji Restoration, when the shogunate collapsed, and then you had Emperor Meiji rising to power as, like, the actual figurehead of Japan, not just like a figurehead, but, like, actual, like, have power as the emperor, the Meiji Restoration. That would be referred to as, like, Hoken, like, you know, he returning to power. In this case, though, it's a pun because it's like Raizo absorbs the Boro breath and Hoken returning it to the emperor. Like, literally, I'm returning this giant fireball back to you. Bam! You know, so that's the name of the attack. So thanks to Artur for those translations and helping me understand those a little bit there. But yeah, I still want to see Denjiro and Ashura and see what they really have to do, and at the end of the chapter we see, you know, Inuarashi, Denjiro, Ashura, and Kinemon using the Togen Totsuka, the two-sword Odin style. I'm assuming the other members could do it too, except for Nekomamushi because he's kind of missing an arm right now, but I'm sure, like, if Izo really wanted to, or if Kiku really wanted to, she could bust out the swords and do Togen Odin two-sword style. I'm sure she could do it, but, you know, right now it's just going to be Ashura, Denjiro, Kinemon, and Inuarashi, because, yeah. Also, Inuarashi does technically have three-sword style, because if he wields two swords here, and then he has a sword as a peg leg, he would have 3 swords, but that's kind of getting into Zoro's territory, and I think Inuarashi knows that. that, so I don't think he's gonna go that way. He's not gonna do it for very long. You know, he might do it as like an attack, but he's like, all right, Zoro, this is your thing. I'm not gonna steal any of your moves or anything like that, right? Like, that's just, you know, not cool. Like, Zoro shows up, and then Inu's using Onigiri, and Zoro's like, what the hell? It's trademarked, Inu. I'm like, I'm sorry. I saw you. I just wanted to use it once. He's like, all right, well, you get to use it once, and that's it, right? Well, anyway, yeah. Really cool moves from the Scabbards, really awesome. I'm just also hoping, like, I'm trying to find a good balance here, you know? Like, I don't want this to be like, okay, the Scabbards really kicked Kaido's ass for 2 chapters, and now Kaido's just gonna flip it around and just bam, 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 just wipe out the Scabbards like that. Like, I don't want that to happen. I want it to be like, all right, Kaido kind of like, maybe you could do it like this. Maybe Kaido can be like, all right, he lets out a big scream next chapter of the pain, and he turns back into his regular form, and he kind of like resigns himself, and he's like, all right, I was really messed up. I didn't know what was going on here, but I've accepted the fact that Odin's will and his Ryuo and his swordsmanship is alive in every single one of you. Because maybe that's what Kaido was doing. Maybe he was not really thinking of the Scabbards as an actual threat at first. He was just thinking that they were nothing but like children pretending to be Odin or something like that, right? Like, they were just kind of trying to copy him. But no, after this battle, he really understands, like, okay, they do have the ability to hurt me. They do have Odin's Ryuo. They do have his will. I need to start treating this like a serious fight. I need to start treating this like I'm fighting against 9 Odins at once. Like, if I want to really take this seriously out of respect for everybody. So, he's going to let out a scream, maybe turn back into an Oni, and just be like, all right, none of this, you know, freaking out every time you hurt me. I'm just going to accept the fact that I'm fighting 9 Kozuki Odins now. You know, he spits on the Kanabo, like, bring it on! Kadoosh! And he just, like, rushes at them, and then they start rushing there. And then it's less of a target to hit, for one thing, and we'll see where that goes. But I'm hoping it's not a quick flip. I'm hoping it's not like, wow, the Scabbards are kicking Kaido's ass! Boom! Alright, well, Kaido kicked the Scabbards' ass. Wow, alright, well, what are you gonna do? So, I hope it's balanced out in a certain way. We'll see where this goes, but it was a really epic chapter. You gotta give them that much. You gotta give the Scabbards, like, they went for it. They took full advantage. I mean, like, really, like, this is kind of like a D&D kind of thing, like, where in D&D, you're fighting against one opponent, you're gonna, like, you know, you're gonna combine your powers together. It's like 9 people against 1 enemy. Yeah, okay. So you got an adult blue dragon, that's Kaido, adult blue dragon, challenge rating 16. Let's say your party is all, like, level 10, level 11, but there's, like, 9 of you, alright? Together, that dragon would just be obliterated if they played it right, if they played it smart, alright? Like, there's like 9 on 1 there, that's how it went, so I guess it makes sense, right? I guess in that context it does. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see where this goes. Tekking101 signing out. Yep. Also, yeah, the Burn the Witch and the Mashal videos, they will be out later this week. I apologize. I was getting my internet kind of worked on a little bit yesterday, so I couldn't get a video done. That had to be upgraded a little bit. Some other stuff going on. But yeah, we'll be getting to those videos this week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Signing out.